Welcome to Bon Jovi Discussions. Today I got one of my good buddies, Jack. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, brother. How are you?
Good. You're outdoing me today. With all the Bon Jovi stuff in the back. I mean, you look good. You know,
Thanks, man.
the slippery shirt, you got the smirk hat, you got some posters in the background. I can see all the Bon Jovi CDs. You're outdoing me.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
gonna
You got some good back there too, though.
I'm gonna give you this podcast.
All right.
You can be the host from now on.
Fair enough. Co-host.
Yeah. Anyway, and obviously for people listening who haven't watched every single episode, Jack has been on how many episodes now? Five, six, seven, eight, nine.
Been on a few. Been on a
Yeah,
few.
that's going on 4 years since this podcast has started, and you've come on quite a bit. And I knew today, what we're about to talk about, which is the debut album. I knew you were perfect for it because you and we kind of text each other a lot about, the early stuff, the debut album, 7800 and stuff like that. So I was like, Jack's going to be perfect for it. So
Yeah,
anyway, so let's just dive right into it, right?
absolutely.
All right. So obviously we're talking about this debut album because we are approaching the 40th anniversary of the band's debut album, the band's very first album, this gem right here, debut. So the anniversary is going to be on January 21st, 1984. But not the album came out in 1984. Let me reword that.
Right.
The anniversary is coming up in January 21st. And I'm excited, man. We're about 10 days away from the anniversary. And man, I want to do some overview and then I want to talk about anniversary here in just a second.
Yeah, sure.
So the album was produced by Lance Quinn and John's uncle Tony Bon Jovi, who ran the power station, which we all
Yep.
know that John worked from 1983 to 83 as a janitor,
Editor.
gopher, and in agreement he would be able to record his own songs at the end of the night after all the bands left.
Yes.
And so that was really cool. And obviously, there's a bootleg out there that you and I both have, and all the other diehards have. It's called the Power Station Sessions, and it has
There's stuff
probably,
on there.
yeah, a lot of gems on there. Who Said It
Yeah.
Would Last Forever, Open Your Heart. But all those songs are on that album that he recorded, at least most of them. And so anyway, a little bit of background on this album for people that are listening. Um, this kind of got started because John had a song called Runaway. And he went to different cities and tried to get, the DJs, radio stations, record companies to buy into Runaway, to like it and promote it. Nobody would buy it. And so as the story goes, as you know, he went into a radio station called WAPP, and I think there was like 103.5 FM or something like that. And the DJ's name was Chip Hobart, I believe.
Chip.
Hobart. And John kind of had the idea, who's the loneliest guy in the music business? The DJ.
Yeah.
So
During that.
he
Yeah.
yeah, he went one day into the radio station and gave him Runaway. He played Runaway. The audience loved it, and so it got put on a compilation. What was it called? All Star Review, I think it was
It
called.
was a local talent.
Yeah,
Like a homegrown album,
yeah,
basically.
yeah. I think it was called All Star Review, if my memory serves right.
Yeah.
And so, but it just started to blow. People were requesting on radio station, and so long story short, Mercury Records signed John, and this is before Richie, David, Tico, obviously Hugh,
Right.
played on this song, but he comes in the band later on. Anyway, that's a different story. So John got a record deal, but didn't have a band because all these guys were hired musicians on Runaway and all his other power station songs. And so he met up with David, who he's played with before for years. And then I think David introduced him to Alec, and then Alec introduced him to Tico. And then Dave Sabo, who was in Skid Row,
Oh, yeah.
was the guitar player for a little bit, playing in clubs and stuff. And
Yep.
then, eventually Richie became the guitar player. And so all the band members were signed under John. John was with the record deal. The band members were under him. But they all had the same vision, and they went in to record the debut album. And so I don't know if I already mentioned this or not, but Runaway is the only song in this album that does not feature Richie, Tico, David, or Alec.
So true.
So they're all hired musicians. At the time, Hugh was a hired musician and he
Yeah.
played bass on the track, you
Yes, he
know.
did.
Um, I guess we'll get into other details I have written down here momentarily. Well, I do want to say one more thing about this album. I think it's severely underrated. I think it should have been a bigger album. Obviously, when a band puts out their first album, it's not that big.
Right, right. Nobody
But
knows.
this album, man, you are from start to finish, it is incredible. And and you dig into the lyrics, and a lot of the lyrics are about love and deception, heartbreak,
Yeah.
desire, and I think that's like a perfect album for any 20-year-old or even a teenager to listen to because you can really relate to those lyrics.
Hmm.
But those lyrics are put into really fun guitar drum driven songs and just incredible. And that brings me to my next point too. I know I'm talking a lot here. I just have
No, you're good, brother.
so much to say. You listen to this album and you listen to each track, and you could just tell, like you listen to Slippery, New Jersey, Keep the Faith, and so on. You can tell the band has their sound there.
Yes.
The debut and 7800, they're so distinct from each other and the rest of the band's discography. They're different, and you can tell the band was trying to experiment with different things sound wise. Heavier on
Hmm.
guitar on this song, heavier on bass on this song, heavier on the keys, heavier on the drums. Sounds you don't normally get on the rest of their discography. So I think
Right.
that's why I appreciate this album so much, because you hear five hungry musicians that are just hungry for success, that have
It's
this
raw.
drive
You know what I mean?
and raw, and they're talented. You got
Yeah.
a heavier guitar sound, bigger drums that are really drum driven songs, and the keys. So my last thing here is this is 1983, 1984 when the band was making this album. At that time, rock bands did not have a lot of, and I know you and me, we listened to a lot of 80s bands. A lot
Oh
of
yeah.
80s bands did not have keyboards in there. And I think that was a way for Bon Jovi to stand out, was adding a keyboard player because it added an enhancement to the songs.
Yep.
For example, Runaway, I don't think Runaway would be what it would have been without keys.
No way.
You know?
Yeah, it definitely wouldn't be the same.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly. It's anyway, enough of me. Let me so what's your overall take on the album?
I love the album. I mean, there's only 9 tracks on there, but I mean, there's so many good songs. Stuff that we wish that were played more live. Um, like Love Lies and Roulette. She Don't Know Me's great. I mean, there's so many good ones on there. But
Well,
um,
that's
yeah,
why. Oh, go ahead, buddy.
Love Lies. I mean, just that song alone is just, from the intro. I mean, I love when they did it back in the day live, and it was great.
Yeah,
I think they get away with acoustic now. I don't know. That's just me.
yeah. Well, what was this? Remember, you and I, we were texting, I think yesterday, and we were talking about a certain song in this album, and I was like, this would be really good acoustic. I can't
It might
remember.
have been Love Lies.
I
Was it not Love Lies?
it might. I have it in my notes. I'm sure it will get brought up. But yeah, I want to go back to what you're saying about how we wish we could see some of these songs live. I'm with you because you and I were also texting earlier
Yeah.
about how it would have been so cool to kind of see them from 84 to 86,
Hmm.
playing all these gems of songs that obviously John doesn't do anymore, other than the Circle Tour, which was very short lived. And I think just from the debut album, they just did Roulette.
She Don't Know Me. I want to say that was it. Just Roulette.
Yeah,
And
it was
was
just Roulette. Yeah, they didn't do, I think they did Shot Through the Heart once.
Oh yes, Shot Through the Heart was the other one.
Yeah, I think they did that once or twice. And they did Get Ready once or a few times, I think.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's like a couple of shows where they did it and
Yeah.
they just like lost interest in doing it. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Well, it's because of the American audience. All they want is the hits, and like, what's this song? And it killed it. I
Yeah.
mean, I tell you, I was so pumped up for that when they announced that they were going to put out, or they were going to do all these songs that they haven't done in years. I'm sure you remember. It was like the MySpace, Facebook days when um, the band would go on there and say, "What songs would you like to hear on the upcoming tour? Rarities that we never
Yes.
play. Keyword that we never play." And you had comments of people saying,
Oh
"Pray,
my God.
It's My Life, Bad Name, Bad Medicine, Who Said You Can't Go Home." They're obviously going to do this, and like it was just like, come on, people, like
They
really.
missed the
And me, I was
Yeah, right.
like a
How-
solid hour. I was
That's
putting in tracks and
smart.
putting on albums.
Yeah, man. I mean, geez. I would love that if there was ever, obviously not now, but if there was ever a chance like back then, or even like in the mid '90s, there where we could create a set list of say 25 songs,
Yeah,
and put like songs that we want to hear out on there.
exactly. Man, I love that. So
Mhm.
I want to talk about the album cover and photography. Obviously, I think the whole band should have been on the album. I don't know. I think I don't want to get into all that, I guess. But anyway, so like this is like obviously this is the album cover, and then this is the whole thing. And
Yep.
I love that as a poster and as a
Oh,
look.
it's a phenomenal poster.
The whole band on the street. And someone just showed me an updated image. So this was in New York City, and I forget the streets, but someone showed me like a comparison of what it looks like now, and it's like almost completely different, other than the building right there.
Right.
But look how long that street looks.
I
Looks like
and
a panoramic image. But
yeah, I know what you mean.
yeah, but the band looks awesome, and I love this band photo right here. This one right
Me
here.
too. That could have been a
Yeah,
good photo actually for the cover.
yeah, and that's what that was gonna be my next point. Is this is a much cooler album cover than because like, and John has a lot of regrets, especially like the music videos and stuff like
Oh
that.
yeah.
Like, what the hell is this album cover? Like, don't get me wrong, I like the album cover,
Yeah,
but
I know.
as a diehard fan, where the hell were they going with this? Like, what's the woman doing? What, you know?
Marketing.
Yeah, exactly. And so I don't know, but it's still a cool album cover. But like I said, I would have loved this as an album cover.
That would have been a good one, I
Yeah,
think. Sure.
and there's so many other cool images too. Like look at the 40th anniversary calendar right now. The pictures of the band.
Yeah.
All those baby photos and stuff. I
By the
love.
way, I love the January picture, that they have for
Yeah,
January band, and then you have like the three separate photos on the bottom. It's pretty cool.
yeah. So let's talk about 40th anniversary plans, like our wish.
Yes.
So for me, obviously we're still like a week and a half away from the anniversary, but like I would love it that remember how like what they did with like New Jersey in 2014? They did like a
Yes.
box set of the album remastered for the fifth time, and then a disc of all the bonus tracks, demos and stuff like that, and then a DVD of the videos and extra
Yeah,
materials.
that was
I'd
fantastic.
love I'd love for like a box set like with all that stuff, but more. You know how like like what Kiss is doing with like all their different albums? They're doing like this massive big box set. Motley
Yes.
Crue just did one with Shout at the Devil. Like I want something that's big and like has a book of all their photos from that era and different, like a remastered LP. I know they just did that in 2017, but I don't know, just like a new like a special colored vinyl or something, or
Yeah.
you
I
know,
some
like like a brown vinyl. They kind of go with like the color,
Yeah.
you
Yeah, that
know.
wouldn't be bad.
Yeah. So, and merchandise like t-shirts or something, or have John sign the album or the band, but what are your wishes if they were to do something for 40 years for this album? What are your wishes?
I would love if they had like added bonus tracks and whatnot, possibly like a DVD or a Blu-ray
Yeah.
from the tour. Even like behind the scenes stuff, like rare interviews, cool.
You bring up a good point. I didn't even think of that. Tour, like footage from the tour. They got footage,
Oh, absolutely.
and so it'd be cool if they did do a disc of obviously the cheesy music videos.
Yeah.
They could call it our most embarrassing videos. And But no, but like tour footage from '84 from when they were opening up for Kiss and Rat, the Scorpions. I think Rat was '85. But you know what I'm saying here. That's a good idea.
Hmm. How
Yeah.
about you? What would you do?
What's that?
What would you do? How would you
Yeah.
see it, for the 40th anniversary of the album there?
Like I don't know if you were with me about 2 minutes ago, but I
Oh,
talked.
sorry.
That's okay, but I'm just teasing. Like you know how I don't know if you saw. Did you see what what Motley Crue did with "Shout at the Devil"?
Yeah,
That was awesome. It was like this big, box, and you open it, and I think it had like I could get this wrong, but like a T-shirt. And these are all ideas I'm throwing out too. A T-shirt, it had a remastered LP, like a
that's right.
special
Yep.
color. I think I think it was signed by the band. It had like a book of like different photos, and it may not have all, but that's what I'm hopeful for this. Like a nice big box set that's signed with a photo album of the band in that era, unreleased tracks, tour footage, a DVD of all that stuff with
More
music.
live tracks.
What's that?
More live tracks would be cool.
More live tracks, yeah, like we got on the 2010 special edition. I think we got what
We
Runaway
got
and Get Ready.
Silent,
I think it was
no, um, Runaway,
and I think it was Get Ready.
Get Ready,
Yeah, that was the
Breakout,
only.
with Breakout, Burning for Love, maybe.
You know what? I'm gonna go. I have it right here beside me. I'm really curious.
Yep,
Actually, Jesus, we were Runaway, Roulette, Breakout, and Get Ready.
that's it. Yep,
For some reason, I thought there was only two on there, and there's actually four. There's other there's other special edition albums that only had like one or two live tracks.
I know. Well, remember the was it Slippery When Wet? The special edition. They had the live tracks from that era, but
Yeah,
the Living on a Prayer version was from like I don't, it was like from the Central Park concert in
yeah,
2008. They
yeah. You could that I remember when that came out in 2000. Side note here, uh,
Yeah,
2010 when we got all those special editions. I remember buying all those the first day they
me
came
too.
out, and like and every album is authentic with saying this is from this era, this is from that era. Like you said though, Slippery When Wet, they put a live version of feels like you and me know what John's voice in 1986
Right,
was
right.
and what it was on that track. And I think it was around the Have a Nice Day Lost Highway era. That you weren't fooling me.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. You can tell just by the intro and everything. You know what I mean? Just the way it sounded. Just everything about it.
Yeah, exactly. It's just and the guitar had a different tone in the '80s.
Hmm.
It did in later 2000s, but
For sure.
either way, I still liked it. But anyway, I just I think with celebrating 40 years of the band, celebrating 40 years of the first album, you've got to go big on this, I
For
think.
sure.
And you know, we're in a day and age now where people, they can do something digital where people will go and buy it, but like diehard collectors like you and me and other fans that just absolutely love collecting the band's merch,
Mm.
give us that opportunity to buy and maybe just make it on demand. Like, okay, we're only going to make 1,000 of these. You have to go
Right.
and
Right.
that's it. And
Right.
John and the band could sign it. John, David, Richie, and Tico could sign it.
Right.
And you
Because
know,
basically these sets are for diehard fans. I mean, I don't expect to walk into like a record store and say, oh, there's the box set that
yeah, it,
because no one's gonna buy it.
and,
But like for us, for sure, absolutely.
and I think it'd be more special if only 1,000 were made,
Mhm.
or whatever number, because then it feels more special,
Absolutely.
and me, I'm gonna I'll be the first one to buy,
Yeah, man. Well, Monopoly game. I mean, that's a limited edition thing.
exactly, and I got the I'm so crazy as a collector. I have one that's open that I play with, and one that's still sealed, and it'll remain. I don't know why, because like I'll never sell it. I'll
Yep.
never. It won't be worth that much money in the future.
I
you know.
completely get it. 'Cause I have a couple of Friday the 13th figures that I
Yeah,
have one that's open and one that's not, you know, just to
yeah,
around with, you know. So,
exactly. But it's the collector in us. But
yep.
let's start diving into these songs. We'll kind of
All
go in
right.
order, but oh man, I'm excited for this. So we'll start off obviously with the first one, Runaway. It was written by John and George Carrick. It was obviously the first single. We kind of already talked about, the history of Runaway.
Yep.
Um, I loved John's vocals on it, especially on a street where you live, girls talk about their social
Yeah.
life. Just like, I mean, you listen to how John sounded then. I mean, he sounded incredible. And it's amazing to think that there's all these record companies and everyone that just declined John and said, no, this isn't any good. You listen to Run and go, this is absolutely fucking good.
Yeah.
Especially like with his vocals, because you could tell there's something there.
Especially like the end of that song. It's like when he screams in, like, she's a little runaway.
Yeah,
Like, just, it's so good. It catches you. You know what I mean? It hooks you.
yeah,
As most of the songs do.
yeah. And you gotta look at the period in time now. So like if you were to put that song out today, it probably wouldn't have been that big or that successful. But in the 80s, that's what bands were putting out, those high
Lot.
screams and
Yep.
those guitar drivers and all that stuff, I mean, let's talk about the music video because
Oh man.
oh my God.
Okay. So
And even so, people that are listening or watching and think I'm being negative, I'm not. Even John will say this. It is, you go to watch that Runaway music video, and it is absolutely cheesy. And wasn't it the niece of the director that played in
that's
that? She's
and
like,
yeah.
yeah. And the video makes like there's like fire in her eyes, and there's like all these security guards blocking
Oh
nothing,
my.
actually.
So cheesy. So cheesy. I mean, just like the even like the pyro was like,
Yeah.
you know,
And,
coming
and
down behind Tico there.
yeah, and there was an interview where John was saying that the entire band was like sprayed with grease or something like some greasy solution to make them look sweaty.
Hmm.
They really weren't, but but then you have like this girl who's obviously the runaway in the song, and she's
Yeah,
like looks like she's about to kill somebody at the beginning.
she did,
And
and
she's
she looked crazy.
yeah, and then she's like waving her hair at the end, and but it was still cool to see like the band. And what if I remember correctly, wasn't Richie on the left of that video?
Yes.
And then Alec was on the right or
Oh,
something?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and then obviously things switched.
yep.
But like just like looking at the band, and it must have been so weird for the band to kind of come in at that time too, thinking, okay, Runaway is such a massive. I shouldn't say massive. Obviously, it was like it was kind of a hit.
It
But
was,
the band was like, this isn't our song. It's John's song, it's not our song. And so like the
right.
band have it, but I give the band so much credit because they still went out and promoted this song and played it on television shows or played it live on tour and did a phenomenal job. Like Richie, for example, just did a phenomenal job on that solo. David on the keys and
Mm,
the band, it's kind of like Blaze of Glory. The band made it their own,
right.
made it incredible,
I will say, I do love David's hair in that video. It's like,
Oh, and that's another fun fact for people that didn't know this already. David goes by David Bryan, but on the
right.
first two albums, he goes by David Rashbum.
Yep.
Rash because his real name is what? David Bryan Rashbum or something
Yeah.
like that. And so like he dropped the name Rashbum and went with Bryan.
Yep. It was a
So
good move. It was a good
yeah,
move, musically, I guess, for the band. But
yeah. So we talked about the key intro, with the with and I want to talk about the intro, I guess, real quick. You get that then the boom boom with the drums, and then all of a sudden you get that guitar, Richie or not Richie on guitar, obviously,
right.
but you get the guitar that comes in, and then that slide right before,
Yeah.
on the street where you live, you
Yep.
know. I just think that I don't know why, but that part always gets me. I just think that is such a cool way to start a song and
Is
transition into a verse.
And it's so fun live too. Like,
Yeah.
The version they did from Yokohama '96 was like amazing. You know, like
Oh,
the intro, like David was playing with the crowd. You know,
yeah. And
like
then he stops, then goes back
yeah,
into it, stops, you know.
yeah,
But you bring up live version. This makes me remember the 2000 acoustic version that John and David would do to
yes,
kind of give Richie, Tico, and Hugh a break. John and David would go out and do Runaway acoustic. And it's amazing how it's kind of like It's My Life, for example. You listen to the Crash version, then This Love Feels Right version, same lyrics, but it has such a different
feeling.
feel and
Yep,
emotion to it, you know? And it's the same thing with Runaway. Runaway, it's slower and it's just like it feels like it's more of like a storytelling song. And I
I
love that.
and I'm sure you do it too, but you know, depending on what mood you're in and whatnot, from time to time I do throw that version on and I like just soak it all in. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And then other times it's, you know, the original, you know, which is
yeah,
also pretty awesome to hear all anytime. So
exactly. Let's dive into the meaning of the song. Obviously, it's socially conscious and it's about this young girl getting a little attention from home and she wants to break away from her parents and her life and just go out and live on the streets and be her own person. It was inspired. There's an interview where John says that song got inspired from him because he'd ride the Greyhound from New Jersey into the city to go to work at the power station, and he would see the homeless people, young people trying to make it in the world. That's what inspired him to write Runaway. I don't know if didn't he write Runaway like within like one bus trip or something, or like to and from? Like I
I
think.
believe oh yeah. And yeah, that I mean like that song, it's like you're trying to find your like who you are, I guess, you know what I mean, as a person and
Yeah.
life experiences. But like, you know, even it was like scary back then. Think about it now, you know what I mean?
Oh, oh
It's
God.
it's really like a scary world anymore. You know, it's like because you don't know, like, and it's hard to like try and enjoy things too. You know what I mean? Because it's like the
Yeah,
way the world is now and whatnot.
exactly. And when people bitch about, oh, John is so like all of his songs are socially conscious now, blah blah blah. It's like, look at some stuff in the '80s. Runaway is a perfect example. Yeah, Runaway was a socially focused song, you
Yeah,
know, and I love that, and you gotta kind of got to give credit there too because you compare them to other '80s bands, all the other '80s hair bands were talking about sex and rock and roll and this and
right.
that. Runaway really stood away from that. Runaway was its own, like we're still a hair metal. That was
I
hair metal back then, hair band, but we got much more to say than just sex and rock and roll. Like we're
that,
like you kind of listen to this album like it's about love and deception, but it's also about the view in the band's, how John's experiencing life and what he's seen on the streets. Like I said, on the Greyhound, seeing all these homeless people.
yeah,
So
yeah. I mean,
yeah,
yeah. Probably it's a tough thing to see. You know what I mean? Because it's like, you know, in life you look at everything. You want what's best for everybody. You know,
yep,
and it is hard. But how do you be? You know, how do you like save people? You know what I mean? Like it's tough sometimes. Like you know, you feel it. You know what I mean? You want to do good, but it's like you know, but it's a fantastic track, and
exactly. You
I
have a
think
favorite
it'll.
lyric?
You know,
Yeah, you have a favorite lyric
I love. I mean, I love the intro there. I mean,
on
you
the
know,
street?
just you know what I mean. I just love
Yeah,
you know just everything about the track. I mean, just like I said, live is like when you really feel it. And when they did it in 2000, it was like you it kind of breaks it all down, you know, and then you hear the lyrics for what they are, you know what I mean?
yeah.
So it just it's so good. So good.
My favorite is she likes the lights at night on the neon
Broadway. Yep.
signs, and she don't really mind. It's only love she hopes to find.
Yep.
You know, I just love the way that John delivers those lines and the intro. On the streets where you live, girls talking.
Yep.
So let's talk about Roulette, which is the next track, written
Yeah,
by
but
John and Richie. And I know you and I we were kind of talking about this today. I think it's both of our favorites on this
yeah,
album.
yes it is.
I'll let you talk about the song first, since I kind of did
Okay.
that more.
Okay. So Roulette. I mean, just from start to finish, man, it's just a solid track.
Yeah.
Written by John and Richie, but it was just everything about it, like the guitar solo. That's actually an underrated guitar solo on that one, in
Oh,
my opinion.
100%. And,
You know,
and also add in the riffs. So like after the first chorus, right? With before and during the second verse, man, that guitar riff is fucking awesome.
yeah, man, it's so good. Even the drums, like the drums, I love the way the drums sound in that track.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what I mean? It's so good.
Yeah, exactly. And we're talking about guitar, but let's talk about like the intro to that. You know how like it's faded away, but then it starts to come in, and you just hear Richie
Yep,
playing, and and then obviously John comes in, Bet the Black comes in red. And I don't know, like I think if that was put out as a single, I think that could have really pushed them into more success on this album. I really think that could have made him beg that song.
absolutely.
You
That
know,
I think that would have done good as a single, honestly. But She Don't Know Me was the second single, I believe, right?
yeah,
But so Roulette would have been good as a single. I'm surprised, I just wish they can see what we see, you know what I mean?
I
Instead of
know.
like
Well,
trying to please a company or whatever.
we all know how John is with picking
I know.
singles. Example, Living on a Prayer.
Yeah.
Wasn't get that song.
Yeah.
you know, um, I want to talk about like it live in 2010. If I go back to watch any of those songs we don't get to see now, it's usually always Roulette first. I just love the way that the band still played it in 2010. Obviously this is 14 years ago now, but I thought it still sounded great live, you know?
Yeah. Absolutely.
And,
It was so good live. Like I say, I mean, I think it was one of their stronger live tracks back then, and
absolutely.
like you said, it still captured that in 2010, which I'm surprised they didn't do more of it, honestly, because I think it got well received. Like when they played it live. Where did they play that live? Was that in um? That wasn't Hawaii. No,
No, they did it in Hawaii.
they did, right?
Yeah,
Honolulu.
yeah,
Honolulu.
Honolulu, and then they did there's a few shows after that because Hawaii kicked off the tour. And then I think the first few shows they were doing deep tracks, because they also did stuff from 7800 and even, like Let It Rock from Slippery. But as you know, it died off pretty quick. But Roulette was just so fun live.
Oh
And even on the special edition of the 2010 special edition that we got, Roulette was fantastic. And I
yeah,
think I'm
good
trying to
man.
remember what show that was, but it was one of the earlier shows in '84.
Japan. I
Yeah,
want to say Super Rock.
it might have been. I think it could have been. Because it was very early on when they were
Yep.
just starting.
Yeah, I want to say that track was from Super Rock '84, and
Yeah, I think
oh,
you're right.
goodness.
Yeah. So the meaning of this song for me, I think it's just uncertainty with heart and love, with your heart and love, and I think just kind of taking a risk. Like roulette is a game of gambling, and
Yeah,
so in the song, I think it's comparing romance with roulette. Love is a gamble, and that's the metaphor of the song. Love is a gamble, and it kind of takes you back to your young 20s again.
yeah, because
Just, putting
you
yourself
start
out there.
life and taking chances and see what you can get away with, what you can't get away with, and it's
Yep.
yeah, man, it's a lot
Yeah.
like that. You have ups and downs. You learn more about relationships and how to push buttons and how not to push buttons. You know what
E-
I mean? And just
Exactly.
like that.
Exactly. It's that very first verse or lyric which is my favorite. Bet the black comes in red, crimes of passion roll my head. I need you, you want him, dressed to kill. We live in sin. You
Yeah.
know, and I love it. Do you have a favorite line of the song?
I don't have a favorite line in that track actually, but like I said, man, I just love that entire song, and they captured it on that special edition album, like when they released the live version from I believe it was Super Rock. We'll have to check on that, but um, it was so good, man. Like it just sounded so solid. And I was happy they put those tracks out there because, you
Yeah.
know, it was hard to get stuff like that back then when that came out.
No, exactly. And listen, also think about the band's backing vocals on that too. Like in the
Mhm.
like when they're screaming roulette, and then
Yeah,
John takes the lead on you. Caught up in a game you can't win, and then the band
yeah,
roulette. You're
yeah.
just a fan. I just think it's brilliant. Was there anything else you wanted to say about roulette?
I just wish it was played more.
Me too. Let's next tour this year. Well, let's go protest. We'll
All
get
right,
row seats every single night, and we'll hold up a sign. Play
play.
roulette. Put on t-shirts, hats, everything.
We'll
So
start a market campaign for it.
yeah, exactly. Next track is "She Don't Know Me," which is written by John and Mark Avsek. Or no, not John. No, I was
Yeah,
put in my mouth. This is the only song that the band has recorded and put
that's
on a
right.
Bon Jovi album that does not have John as a songwriter. So this song was written by Mark Avsek, and if my memory serves right, if I can recall, I think John made a deal with somebody that he would record the song and put it on the album. And I think the record company had a lot to do with that. And
Well,
there's probably more to the story than John has ever said in interviews, but I have heard, and John has said in interviews too, that he made a promise with somebody that he'd record the song and put it on the album. And I think it was the record company that wanted it as a single because I think John had a different idea for a single.
right.
But the record company was no, She Don't Know Me deserves to be the next single. I don't know. I could be getting some of that mixed up, but I think that's how it went. Um, but yeah, so it was the second single, second, and technically the final single worldwide. Burning for Love became a single for some certain countries, but
Right.
I think we've got to talk about that cheesy music video.
I was just about to say, yeah, we can bring up that video because
You've
it's
seen
so funny.
you've seen Terminator, right?
Yes.
And I think that you and I we've talked about this a bunch of times. For the longest time, I thought that what was her name, Linda Hamilton.
Yeah.
She plays Sarah Connor in
Yep.
the Terminator. I thought that was her in the video.
It resembles her so
Yeah,
much.
yeah,
And John just in like the tight jeans and the tight jacket. And then that scene with the shirt on, it was just hilarious. And he's walking down the hill. It's like, what the hell are they doing?
yeah. The music video makes no sense because you get two different girls, you know,
Right.
but and we'll get into this when we talk about the meaning of the song. But obviously the meaning of the song is falling for somebody and not getting noticed or liked back, and it's kind of like a unrequited love, And so when I think of the video, this is just a far-fetched idea, and maybe I'm just looking way into things, but I'm thinking obviously the two girls are two different people, and John's got his eyes on this one girl where she doesn't like him back, and he's pretty much chasing her. Yet he's got another girl that is into him, but he's not giving her the time of day. Maybe I'm looking too much into it with the depth of the song, the meaning and stuff, but like I don't know. I kind of got that idea. You know,
It's it's possible. I mean, it was the 80s after all. So,
yeah. But
and like I said, those videos were real cheesy. But
yeah,
I also love the part like with the band, like in the bar, and they come out of the bar and they're all just
yeah,
like there, like
yeah. And then David ruffles up. Oh no, that was an Only Lonely video for some 800 where he's like Only Lonely made no sense whatsoever. And that's a different discussion there. But I was just thinking, I thought that was in the You Don't Know Me bits in Only Lonely where David ruffles up somebody
yes,
or
up
like
against the car.
yeah. But yeah, like She Don't Know Me video just like made no sense. And I see John like with the boots that he was wearing having to go down that steep hill. That
Yep.
must have hurt.
Oh
I'm
my
sure
god.
that wasn't the only take that he was doing for the song either. And oh God.
I know. He's just like, he's like singing it down the hill there. It's just
Yeah.
kind of funny following that camera.
And then in the second verse, you're in the beach with your shirt off. And I'm sure the girls love that and the guys, you know,
Right.
and but it's like, where are we going with this?
Oh, that's what I'm
And
saying.
then and the one girl leaves and the other girl's showing up, but she's got like you know, you know,
What about his like robotic? like movements there in that video too.
Oh,
You know what I mean? It was like he's modeling almost.
yeah. Oh God. And and it's not the band's fault, or because they were just starting out. They were just trying to make it. So I think like the record company just pushed a lot of this.
Mhm, sure,
Well, let's talk about the
oh,
actual song though, because the song is actually a gem. You
it
know,
is.
uh, I guess start with that drum intro, the bum 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 da, 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 the guitar riff. She don't know me.
I
Um,
believe I sent this to you too, but I got my daughter also singing that. She don't
oh,
know me.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah. I
I
remember.
might
Yeah, you did.
check
Yeah.
it out.
Um, I have a note here. I'm trying to read my sloppy handwriting. I'm notorious for my bad handwriting.
No, you're good,
Um,
brother.
oh, the transition into the chorus, into both choruses. If only she would look my way. Hey, hey.
Mm,
If only she would give me a chance. I love the way that John delivers those lines, and that's such a cool transition into the chorus.
yeah,
Yeah.
I
Um,
love not to keep beating the live experience, but when him and Richie sing that, dude, it's like
yeah.
magic. You know,
Richie had. I'm glad you brought that up because Richie did have a lot of incredible backing vocals on this song
he
live.
did. Oh yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like when you hear the live version of that, it's like say you weren't a fan of the studio version, but like you hear that live version, it's like wow. Like I
Yeah,
said, it just pulls you in. You know what I mean? Just hearing them sing it together, like they.
exactly. 100%. Let's talk about the instrumental breakdown because I think that Richie could have done a bigger solo than what obviously it's more of an instrumental breakdown. And do you really want to classify it as a solo? Because I've been doing polls on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it this week,
Mhm.
on best guitar solo on the debut album. And I was hesitant about putting She Don't Know Me on there because it's not really a guitar solo, but there's enough there to,
There's enough there.
yeah, but I do like, how it has an instrumental breakdown, and all of a sudden Richie kind of comes in at the end right before the final
Yeah.
chorus. I thought it was cool though, the way that they kind of orchestrated that whole bit.
Hmm.
Um,
I
yeah,
think so. I think so too. And for what it was, it's pretty good.
yeah. Another thing that I get from this song too, if you listen to like a lot of 50s and 60s
I
band
do.
music, you know how like the lead singer will have a line and then the band will have like they'll sing
Yep.
part of so like I get that from this song, like you like we talk about like roulette, for example, roulette, and then John's caught up in a game he can't win. Here, you have the band screaming in the background, she don't know me, and then you have John, she don't know,
Right.
John sing, and you get that 50s, 60s music vibe from that, which I think is I like it,
Do you li- do you listen to much of that era, like back then, or
Not
so?
It's so and so. If you got
Yeah.
recommendations, send it to me. I'll listen.
Okay.
Yeah, I
I,
I love
I,
music from the era.
and from where I work, with the vets and whatnot, they constantly have that music going. So it's like
Yeah,
it's kind of nice, you know what I mean? Because I do enjoy listening to it most of the time.
yeah.
So
It's very clean. That music back then, they were very clean rock, if you want to call it rock, not really
Mhm.
rock. Very clean sound. It wasn't overproduced, and
Right.
which is kind of cool. So we talked about the meaning. So my favorite lyric is, "What more can I do? There's nothing I haven't tried. Still, it's so hard for her to notice," which is pretty much the gist of the song.
Pretty much. And if I'd probably go with those lyrics as well because it's very relatable.
Yeah, exactly. Was there anything else you want to say about She Don't Know Me?
No, you don't know me. I mean, it's. I love it. I love the track, man.
Yeah, it's a gem.
Now the
The
snare.
next, so the next one is Shot Through the Heart, written by John and Jack Ponte. Was it Ponte? 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 I was right the
Yep.
first time. I should have went with it.
All right.
Better luck. Let's stop the recording. We'll re-record this time or hour again. Just kidding. Okay, I'll let you talk because you got really excited when I was about to bring it up. So I'll let you go first. Talking about this.
Okay. This one gets you know, understood quite a bit because it's like people think it's "You Give Love a Bad Name" because obviously "Shot to the Heart," but I constantly correct people. It's like, what song you want to listen to? They're like "Shot Through the Heart." All right, so "Shot Through the Heart" from the first album, or like "You
Yeah.
Give Love a Name," you
Oh,
know?
yeah. You go to play and they're like, where's the shot
Yeah,
through the heart and you're to blame? You know?
that's not "Shot Through the Heart." Yes, it is.
Exactly. Yes, it is. Um,
That
yeah.
that song also had a pretty decent solo in it, you know.
Oh, absolutely.
But
Um,
yeah, I love "Shot Through the Heart," and just I don't know, man. It's just so good. That's
yeah.
another one I wish they did more live.
Yeah. You know,
You ever?
excuse me.
Yeah, go
Oh,
ahead.
I,
Yeah. Oh,
um,
all right. You're good.
been talking about, the confusion with band name. That was I think there's if I remember correctly, John said in like an 80s interview that he actually had like 5 songs with the working title of Shot Through the Heart or along those lines. And obviously we only got this one and then band name. I'd like to know what those other 3 are because, it's like songs like Open All Night, where John wrote like 5 different songs with that,
Yeah.
you know, phrase, line, title. And so I'd be curious to see what the other Shot Through the Heart songs were, you know. Um, but I think this one has a awesome storyline, with like the meaning. And I when I was listening to the song the other day, I kind of wrote a lot of notes here with this one. So just bear with me. I'm sure you're gonna love this anyway. If not, you're gonna suffer. For me, I think the meaning with the song is it's all about heartbreak, all part of the game that we call love. Like that line, it's all part of the
Yep.
game we call love. Part of the game that we call love is heartbreak. It's like
Hmm.
kind of like roulette where you're taking a gamble and it may work, it may not. And obviously, Shot Through the Heart is a breakup song. It's about deception and stuff. You go into the first verse, and I think it's about being deceived by someone that you've loved or trust. You get into the pre-choruses and it's, being wanted. I'm trying to read my notes. Jesus, my handwriting is terrible. Are being warned. Um, like the line, didn't someone say you were going to take the fall? Like, like saying you see me in a bad relationship with someone and you warned me about it, but I still don't listen to you because I believe in it.
Right.
And then boom,
It's
I get shot through the heart.
kind of
Uh,
like what
the
heart wants.
chorus, what's that?
It's kind of like what the heart wants.
Exactly. The
So
chorus is about the heartbreak. The second verse is about moving on, and then the other person coming back, and then you have the bridge. It's cheesy, but it works so well and sounds so good in the song. But baby does what baby please,
yeah,
and
baby.
baby must have what she's. It's so cheesy to say, but it's so fucking good in the
It
song.
is. It is.
Like like you kind of giggle at it, but like it works.
Absolutely. It depends on what kind of light you put that in. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
exactly. And so I think just the whole song is about that revolvement around love. Sometimes like giving someone a chance and then again heartbroken, and then moving on, and then that person wants to come back to you, and hopefully you've learned your lesson. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
how
absolutely.
do you interpret the song?
And sometimes it is hard to come back from like all that. You know what I mean? Because it's always going to be in the back of your mind, like, oh, man, like, is this going to happen again, or
Yeah,
what? I guess it's you're having like suspicious minds, and not to steal anything from Elvis there, but it's kind of like, and it's true. You can't really like go on with if you're gonna keep wandering. You know what I mean? So
yep.
you kind of just, I don't know. You just, who knows? You know what I mean? It's like it's one of those things where it's like you live, you learn, and life lessons.
It's like you fall down 9, get up 10, as John would say.
Yeah,
It takes a lot of opening the wrong doors to find the right one. You know,
exactly.
uh,
Sometimes it's hard.
exactly. Let's talk about it musically though. I love that slow build and intro. It's very slow, and then then you get that da, 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 da. I
Yep.
can't do it, but that that slow, easy going guitar riff, and then John's voice, comes in, shot through the heart. And then all of a sudden you get that boom boom, with the
Yeah.
drums, and then isn't there a part where John has like a little laugh, like ha,
Yes.
yes, yes, yes. I don't know why I was questioning myself. I
Went up
should,
there part there.
yeah, I should just quit while I'm ahead. Yeah, but he has a ha, and then
I
and then all of a sudden it comes with the band in full force. I thought that was pretty cool.
I
Uh,
kind of wish we play like samples of tracks like while we're doing this, but I know why we can't. It'd be
exactly.
cool.
Yeah,
Like this part here, like
yeah.
you know,
And like you said too, this has a killer solo on it. And right now I'm doing a poll for the on Twitter or X, a poll of which guitar solo do you like better, and "Shot Through the Heart" is winning. Now that might be due to because people are just picking which song they like better, and they think it's bad name. Who knows? But
probably
hopefully, people are voting based on the solo, and if they are, I applaud you because this does have a killer
killer.
guitar solo and deserves to win.
Yes. And that live version, man. When he's like, she shot me down, like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
when he just does that thing there toward the end there, it's so good. Like it's so good.
yeah,
They felt it. You know what I mean? Like you don't get much of that these
yeah.
days.
You,
Sorry for my.
Oh no, you're fine. You know what else I love about this song too, and I love the delivery of the way that John sings it. Didn't somebody say you're heading for a fall? I gave you everything. Now here's the curtain call,
Yep.
and then it goes to the curtain. Now I'm shot.
Yep.
I just man, I think after this chat, I think I'm gonna put on that song because it's so good. You
I
know,
might, man. I think I feel the need to crank it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get into the next one, and this one is kind of special in a way. So the next one's called "Love Lies."
Love
It's written
lies.
by John and is written by
Hang on.
you
See,
don't
I
know.
didn't know offhand.
Oh
I
man,
knew
you gotta
uh,
brush up in your knowledge too, my friend.
I know. I'm struggling here today.
All right. It is written by John and David Bryan,
David Bryan.
which
Well,
is
David.
cool because he writes two songs on this album.
Yes,
And this is the first one. So Love Lies. And this has a really cool piano intro to it, which I think is it kind of, if you listen to this album from start to finish, this kind of breaks up a little bit of that album, from it's a good halfway song.
for
And
sure.
I love that piano intro. And the way that the first verse is of just piano and vocals, and John just sounds so fucking good on this song,
Hmm.
you know?
Yeah, good man. Yeah, that song I felt was always an underrated one as well. You know, that one should have been more live, or even like it could have even been like reworked like later on, even. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't mean to interrupt you, but while you're saying that, this is so earlier I told you that how a song could be really good acoustic. This is
Yes.
not one. I think that, like you said, it could have been reworked, and I think like this one could be like just John and David or something. I could
Yeah,
see John doing this at a Runaway trip acoustic, and
for
I
sure.
think it'd work well.
For sure, man. I
Yeah.
mean, it is. I mean, it's a great track. It's like I said, it's underrated,
Mhm.
but just the time that they did that. I mean, it was just so special, man. I mean, just like you said, the keyboard and when they do it live. Like I said, the live experience just takes on a whole. Like all these songs, really, like when they did them live, were just
Yep.
it brings out like a different meaning to them.
Exactly. And
And
this one
not all of them that though.
if you look at the lyric, if you just read the lyrics, like it's really good songwriting too. And I think that's what's so great about this album too. Is like we talk about how the band kind of experimented with different sounds and stuff, but I think John also really tried different things with songwriting. And Love Lies has really good lyrics in it. And you got to imagine too. You have 21-year-old JBJ. If you look back, what did you really know at 21 years old? Obviously, we all think we know everything at 21, but
That's the thing, a misconception because I mean, like I said, you live life like now that I'm 41. I mean, I look at things way differently than I did at that time. You know what I mean? It's
yeah,
like I did stuff like that.
yeah, exactly.
Circle of life or the cycle of life, however you want to.
Yeah. So
No,
I really think that this has a really good songwriting and probably shows how good of a songwriter John was. Like if you had to pick songs from the first album, I put Runaway, Shot Through the Heart, and Love Lies as probably John's best songwriting on this album.
yeah,
And Roulette, I put Roulette in there too.
Roulette was great too. Yeah,
Yeah.
but Love
Um,
Lies was a special track, man.
yeah. So let's talk about the meaning of this song. So I think it's all about opening up to somebody that you love and you trust. you're showing how vulnerable you are, and then they're being deceptive towards you, and you learn the consequences of love, like opening up to somebody and then they just hurt you in the end, love
They
lies.
just
Victim of the headlines.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
And
And
that's
now
another part that we should probably touch on too, that the way that they do those lines, I kind of, how I talked about like the 50s 60s vibe.
yes.
you know you get some of that in that chorus here too, and I love that.
Yeah, me too, man.
Yeah.
It's a good track for sure.
My favorite lyric is "Showed you my heart, left it unguarded, like a thief in the night,
And I
stole
stole
it."
it away. Yep.
That's probably my favorite, second favorite lyric of the album is that part.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite part, lyric, or anything?
Right there for sure. Like I said, man, you and I are like right on, like as far as like our favorite lyrics is. Even from time to time, we even just send texts to each other. Like, you know what I mean? Like
I know. We're,
it's like
maybe, maybe
whatever
maybe we are really brothers, and we
might be.
blood. All right, let's get to the next one. Breakout. And this
Break
one's written
out,
by John and
Richie Sambora.
nope. Oh my God.
Dude,
Man.
I'm telling you, like I let me tell you. So a couple weeks ago, I got COVID. I don't even know if I told you, but since then,
Oh,
my head's been foggy, like
yeah.
just and then
Yeah.
blood pressures took a spike, but that's a whole other story.
You doing okay though?
Yeah, I'm doing great now. We got like different medicine now and whatnot, but
You're,
yeah,
you're,
much.
I guess this is a conversation for after we record, so I'll bring it up to you after. Um, but so I'm just teasing you, by the way, too. You and I, we've been friends for years now, so I feel like we can tease each other a little bit here.
For
Uh,
sure.
But so this song was written by John and David, and and I know I told you this before, but for people listening, this song has always made me jump, especially like if I have like my Bon Jovi music on my phone on shuffle and I have it on loud. And like, I remember one time I had like "It's Hard Letting You Go" play.
Yeah.
That song puts you in a somber mood and like relaxing and stuff. And then the next song was Breakout. And obviously, as you know, the song starts on Breakout. Like they're all screaming. It makes you
The
jump.
drum,
God.
the bang of the drums. It's so good.
Yeah. That song starts at the whoa, whoa, whoa,
Yep.
look at me, I'm an incredible singing.
Listen,
But
we'll have to start a band here.
what's that?
We'll have to start a band here sometime.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
think I'm gonna get too far. We'll call our first out the Zoom sessions.
I know. Seconds from the Zoom.
Uh, I think this, you know how like you hear a song, you're like, oh, that's sexy, you
Yeah,
know, this is it. I
for
think
sure.
it has that sexy vibe to it, and I don't know if I'm coming off the right way here. Maybe I shouldn't, but you know what I mean. It has that sexy,
No, I know.
just like the way that John. I'm not saying John specific, just the way that he sings. It kind of gives you that
Yeah, I
grab your
get it.
honey and let's get a
No,
little busy here.
I definitely get it.
Yeah. Uh, for I think the whole like the meaning of this song, it kind of falls into the other songs, learning about um deceptions and lies, frustration, exhaustion of a relationship, realizing a relationship is toxic, and the metaphor of the chains, trying to break free from those chains because you realize that this relationship is just holding you down. The
Hmm.
second verse, broken promises made in the heat of the night, and the passion you can't keep. So yeah, I think it's pretty much just a relationship that's holding you down, and you know that it's what's the word? I'm having a foggy mind tonight too.
Don't
Yeah,
sweat.
that it is its course, and you need to move on from it.
You do, yeah. Because, like I said, you can't live in that moment. Because, like I said, you're just gonna drive yourself nuts.
Like that, you're going to be caught up in a game you can't win.
Yeah. Bingo. Hey, my not to cut you off. My battery is like low, and my charging port is broken. So if you lose me at any moment, that's why.
Oh, how much time you have
Like,
left?
I got 20% left. I should be all right to finish this though.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, let's go through here. My favorite lyric: "Promises made in the heat of the night. Those words were broken under bedroom lights. Your lips, the burn. Your body calls my name. I can feel the fire, but it's all in vain."
It's all in vain.
Okay. Next one, Burner for Love, written by John and Richie.
Richie Sambora.
I'm not trying to go too fast here. I just want to make sure we get through the next two songs.
Yep.
It was a third single, only released in certain countries. I think it was like released later on in 84, early 85. I think it has a really cool guitar riff. Let me think
It
of
does.
how many more songs do we? Oh, we have three more songs. Okay, so we better hurry. Um, Actually, let me know when it gets to 10%, then I'll speed it
Yeah,
up.
yeah, you're good.
Um, because it's just not fair to bypass all three of these songs,
Absolutely. No,
Uh,
I get it.
So
Let's
this
do
one's
it.
an awesome guitar solo and riff. Probably one of Richie's best solos on this album, if I had
Mm.
to be honest. I think this is probably the most fast-paced song on the album. It's very, which I love. It's very guitar and drum driven, and I love that. I think it's pretty cool.
I think a lot of people like when I before I even listened to this song, I look at the song title, it's "Burning for Love." I'm like, is that like an Elvis? Once again, another Elvis reference there.
You
Like,
know
I'm like,
what?
is it any
Yeah,
track? But no, I'm like, I was thankful that it wasn't. But yeah, man, it's so good, and
yeah,
that's another home live.
yeah. Definitely. And for me, I think that the meaning of the song is, that that longing and desire, that pretty much the tension you have for love and sex with somebody, that build up that you
Yeah,
build with somebody before you either fall in love or you do the deed with them.
nope, I
Um,
get it.
but then also, knowing that you've experienced heartbreak in the past from all your ex-lovers, but you still have that pursuit of love, you've been heartbroken so many times, but you still have the pursuit for happiness and for love and to be with somebody. And
Right,
it's like you get knocked down but you get back up and keep going, kind of thing. you know
absolutely, because everyone's looking for acceptance and love and all that.
exactly. All anybody wants is a better life.
Yeah, like because the world they're in is just so evil. It's just so evil and negative, and
Yeah,
you know, somebody like say like just the innocence in life. You know what I mean? Like I said, I sit back and reflect quite a bit, man. And it's like
me too.
it's just innocence. You know what I mean? It's like you can't help what you feel and this and that. But it's
Exactly.
like you burning for love. Yeah, you want acceptance. You want to know what it feels like. Blah blah
Yeah,
blah. So,
exactly.
but
And
like
and this song kind of breaks away from the other tracks when it's about being heartbroken and decepted and just brokenhearted. This one kind of has that, but it also shows moving on and still not gonna be held back, still having that
right.
pursuit, which I think is great,
Mhm.
My favorite lyric is "You're the victim, it's in your eyes. I'm the suspect, and love is the crime." And I love the way that John sings that. Tensions mountain, bodies shaking. Wonder what they're talking about. I can't take the anticipation. I love those lines. I love the way that John sings them.
Me too. I
So
like I said, man. I like that. I don't know why they don't like look at these like the first two albums as like there's so much good stuff there, man. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I get like I said, you get older, you sing about different things, but it's like there's still like an audience that can still relate to that stuff.
there's a lot of people that would jump up for joy for these songs.
For sure, man.
Let's get into the next one. Come Back, which was written by John and Richie.
Yep.
I think if this is still a good song,
One of
but
my
I
favorite
think if they would have reorchestrated it a little bit, I think this would have been like a really good ballad.
for sure.
And maybe in a way this is a ballad, but like more of a slower paced
Yeah.
ballad. I think,
Not but
yeah,
probably as it was interpreted to be, I guess.
yeah. And in this one, I really love the guitar riff, and I love how it's guitar driven. Kind of like how Burning for Love is guitar driven. This one's really guitar driven as well. This one really shows, songwriting wise, vocally, uh, guitar wise, rhythm guitar and lead guitar, how well John and Richie come together. You know, and maybe this is one of those songs where John realized, oh, I like Richie and I, in John's words, blend really well together. And
Hmm.
I think this is one of those songs that really show that in their early years. Um, yeah, the great drum drive as well. Um, we kind of go
So
back to. Oh, go ahead, buddy.
not to cut you off, but like this song and the next one also. this is one of the things I truly miss about the band is like when they all just sang together. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I personally wish they have Tico do it more. you
Oh,
know,
me too. Yeah.
you know,
You
he,
know, but you talk about, like them singing together. This also kind of brings you back to that 50s, 60s vibe where the band is singing Come Back, and then John's taking, because I need your love,
yeah,
come, because I like that, and
me too.
as you kind of move on, you still get that in a song here or there, but not as much,
Right.
as you did with this album. John's vocals were great. I think the meaning of this song was, falling for the same games and crawling back to the person who's hurt you, but then you're watching them move on eventually, and then you're pretty much just begging them to come back. Like you're pretty much a doormat in this
Yeah.
song. Please come back. I don't want to watch you move on. I don't want, come hurt me again at least. I need you to come back. Because
And that's a lot of the case. I mean, anymore. It's like you see people and it's like what they go through and what they deal with on a daily basis. It's like they take that abuse, but just for the price of love.
we kiss and then say goodbye. Yeah. But you know what? You actually bring up a good point because lines in Price of Love, we kiss and then we say goodbye.
Yeah.
That has like kind of an influence on this album, with those kind of lyrics and stuff.
That's such a great song, man.
Oh, I know. My favorite line of this song is you play with words, play with love. It's just your silly way. I'm a fool because I need you by my side again. And I think that kind of encapsulates the whole what the song is about.
Yeah, for sure, man.
So let's get into the final track. Get
Come
ready.
on.
Come on, let's get into Get Ready. Written by Johnny Ritchie. This song is like really straight away from all the other songs. Runaway and Get Ready are two standalone songs compared to the rest of the 7 songs are about love and deception and heartbreak. But then you have Runaway, that's it's a social song, and then you have Get Ready, which is a fun party rock song.
Fun.
And I
It's
think it's a great way to end the album.
yes, it's kind of like 99 in the shade,
Yeah,
you know?
a lot in the streets.
Yeah, while in the streets, and then you
Yeah,
have yeah, it's a good way to say goodbye.
yeah,
Love for sale.
not for
Yeah.
sale. But like can you imagine like at a show like it as an opener now or a closer? I think it'd probably be a better closer because it has that drive for it to be a closer. But yeah, I mean,
I could see that.
yeah, it's just you had the young John vocals, the guitar riff. Um, I when you listen to the lyrics and stuff, I take it in 2 different ways. I take it about just a fun rock song that's also about performing. Come on, get.
Mhm.
But if you really look into some of the lyrics, I think it's also talking about sex, which they're young 20-year-old guys. Come on, you know
Lost.
it's being and like I said, performing, sex, come on, get
Yeah.
ready.
Yep.
You know, you can see how there's different lyrics in there that kind of supports my theory. You know,
Absolutely.
so um, my favorite line is "I'm gonna take you all the way tonight." I like him down and dirty, so hold on tight. That's not about performing, my friend.
that that's probably my favorite go-to line too in that song.
Yeah, and the way that John does those lines too are, cool.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, just young John vocals, and it's fun, and I don't know, man.
I should have been better prepared for this because, like I said, I have the vinyl also of this album, and I have
Yeah,
it away there. But like my place is smaller than the last place I lived at,
yeah,
so a lot of like put away.
yeah. I
Not
was
well,
gonna get out my vinyl too. I have it in the box set, and like I try not to touch that box set unless I have
yeah,
because it's very expensive, and
yeah,
the
it is.
retail value just keeps going up on. So I'm like, don't touch it. But
Yeah, I got a couple up there that I have displayed, but I don't have the debut album up there. I have 78,
yeah,
Slippery, Lay Your Hands on Me record.
you know what's so crazy? Like I know the one that's above the 1994 photo, even with Bon Jovi. That's the Lay Your Hands because I can just see John's shoulder and like that's how crazy I am as a collector. Like I know what
No,
different covers and stuff look like, and
I look at things even like a regular photo, like that they've put on like something like a poster. It's like, oh, that's where it came from. You know what I mean? We
Yeah,
know. We know. Yeah.
exactly. Was there anything else that you wanted to say about this album?
This album, dude, is like I said, it's an underrated gem, and it should have had more love for sure. Like much like 7800 Degrees
Yep, exactly.
songs on that album.
Yeah. You get into this album and you see a band that's just so hungry for success and just how well this band comes together. Obviously, they're not at perfect sound together yet, but they sound pretty fucking good.
Yes, this one was Borderline, right? Was Borderline supposed to be on this one?
No, Slippery.
Slippery. It was Slippery. Okay.
Or was it done? I think Borderline was done earlier than Slippery though, like 1700 sessions, I think.
Was it between 7800? Maybe it
Yeah,
was around.
it could have been where they had some of it done, but then they went to it later and redone it. Kind of like how they did Diamond Ring. Like they had a demo for Diamond Ring
Yeah,
for New Jersey,
yeah.
but then redid it for these days.
I
Yeah,
was actually on a buddy of mine about Diamond Ring the other day. I was like, yeah, I was like, that was written for New Jersey and
yeah,
later on these
yeah.
days,
I like the
what's
New
the
Jersey demo.
version too?
Yeah, I like the New Jersey demo more than
Yeah,
these days. Yeah,
it's
and
got a slight.
I'm gonna end the recording here. I just wanted a chance to talk to you real quick before your phone dies. Was there
Yep.
anything else that you wanted to say?
I think we pretty much captured that, but
Yeah,
yeah.
I think I think we did about an hour and a half of this. So, all right, buddy, let me end the recording. Thank you again for doing this with me. You were
Absolutely.
perfect for it.
I appreciate it.
All right.